Hi, if you like the video, please remember to subscribe.
Hi, it's Rob from roblongphoto.com with a quick video review of the old Canon EF 28-80 zoom lens f3.5 to 5.6. This is the Mark II version of the lens, easily available on eBay. Tends to be really cheap. Because it was fitted as a kit lens to lots of old Canon EOS film SLRs, but this one is fully compatible with new digital bodies as well. Everything from crop sensors like the 350D, 400, 450D, 500, 550D to full framers like the 1D and its brethren. Now, a lot of people diss kit lenses, and to be honest, myself, I was a little bit sceptical about the quality, because previously I'd had a 28-80 that I got with my first Canon film SLR, which was a 50E, and that lens gave up the gut. Well, it didn't work very well. The autofocus kept jamming up. But recently, been on a holiday to the Isle of Wight, and because we were sort of travelling by car, was with the family, didn't want to take a lot of kit. So what I took was the 28-80 and my 75 to 300mm. And I left all the primes at home, the 28, the 50, and just went with the 28-80 as a walk-around lens. And I've got to say, I was pleasantly surprised. And what I'll do with the video is I will leave a, I'll put a few example shots at the end of the video for you to look at. Yeah, it performed, great as far as I was concerned. Obviously, if we take a look at the lens, you can kind of sort of see its limitations in the fact that the build quality isn't brilliant. It wobbles around quite a lot. We've got a plastic mount here, but it is, it's heavy-duty plastic. I doubt whether it would hold up to being dropped onto a hard surface very well. 58mm filter thread, readily available filter. 28-80, 3.5 to 5.6 aperture. So what that means is when it's wide open at 28mm, it has a maximum aperture of f3.5, which is a kit lens size, isn't it? And when you zoom up to 80mm, then the aperture closes down. Well, it doesn't really close down, relatively it closes down to f5.6. So it's not the fastest lens in the world. It doesn't let in the most light. So you've got to be careful when you're using it that you keep an eye on your shutter speed if you're shooting in, say, aperture priority, to make sure it doesn't drop too low, and you can compensate by pushing up your ISO. And again, the lack of a really wide aperture means that your depth of field is going to be fairly large, but we can work around this by getting closer to our subject, or making sure the background is further away, that sort of thing. Yeah, and I took some nice pictures with this lens, and I've got no problem in recommending it. If you've got a digital back, say, and you just want a nice cheap walk around zoom. On a 350D, 400D, 450D, etc., the Rebels, they're called in America, the 28 isn't that wide, because these are what we call crop sensor cameras. So in order to get a rough idea of what the 35mm equivalent, the angle of view would be, you have to times it by 1.6. So it's more like a 45mm lens. So it's not super wide, but that zoom, gives you enough scope for everyday photography. It's nice and light as well. I think it goes very well with the 350D. Now, if you want to pick up one of these lenses very cheap, one of the tricks to do is to go onto eBay and have a look for film. Just do an eBay search for Canon film, and Canon film cameras will come up, and you're after EOS ones, Canon EOS ones that have the EF lens mount, and you'll find loads of them on. Well, they'll just list it as a film SLR, and it'll have a lens on it. And you'll probably find the film cameras go for very little money at all, because people don't realise that the lenses are actually worth more money than the body, and then you can end up with a very cheap lens. I mean, I can't remember where I think I picked this one up from a charity shop, and what I did was I bought two Canon 500Es, I think they were, or something like that. They were old film SLRs. Both had 28-80 lenses on. I sold one of the lenses on eBay. And I got the pair both of them for 25 quid. It's about £12.50 each. So the lens cost me £12.50. But I've got some acceptable results out of it, and if you're after a cheap entry-level consumer zoom, then people diss them, but I would say the Canon EF20 8-80 3.5 to 5.6 is a worthy contender. My name's Rob from robandonphoto.com. Thanks for watching.